2020, and we'll call to order the regular City Commission meeting of City of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gary,
Here.
Commissioner Baker,
Here.
Commissioner Baspis-Rath,
Here.
Commissioner Collins,
Here.
Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Talentino,
Here.
Commissioner Twardy.
Here.
All right, we're all here tonight. Please join us in standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would put your phone on mute, Commissioner Miller will lead the way.
Excuse me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Commissioner Miller. Good job as usual. Item 4, Mayor comments and general announcements. I just have a couple. First and most importantly, happy birthday to our Commissioner Jody Baspis-Rath. We won't ask your age, but hope you had a great day, and thank you for joining us at a City Commission meeting on your birthday.
Thank you.
We'll try to make it last as long as we can for you.
Sounds good.
Second thing is, just wanted to make a quick comment on COVID-19. Yes, we do see the numbers have risen in Chippewa County, and want to thank Chippewa County Health Department, Chippewa County War Memorial Hospital, and the entire medical community for really doing the right thing and giving us appropriate guidance through this last many months since March. It's worth noting that Chippewa County has the lowest cases per million of any county in the state of Michigan. So of all 83 counties, we have the lowest cases per million. We have right now 118 cases, and we've done 9,654 tests, and that is about 258,000 tests per million, so 1 in 4 people. And we've had 0 deaths, and that's the most important part. And we've had a low number of hospitalizations. So despite our busy summer traffic, despite school being in session, Lake Superior State University being in session, I think our community has done a great job at doing the right thing. And I think we should ask that you continue to follow the guidance of the Chippewa County Health Department and practice social distancing, wash your hands very frequently, and wear a mask when possible. We're doing a great job, and I think that we can continue to keep this virus and the numbers low. Third thing tonight is the election. I'm sure that City Clerk will have some comments on that later in the meeting, but we just talked before the meeting, and I think we'll all be glad when our phone stops ringing and our texts quit coming in and we quit getting emails. This is part of the democratic process, and certainly has changed over the years, but it's pretty exciting. It's very exciting to see the number of people that have voted early. Record number, tens of millions of dollars, or dollars of people, almost 100 million. And certainly will be fun to see. I don't know if we'll have a winner tomorrow night, but certainly our numbers will be in, and Robin Troyer and the staff in the city clerk's office and all of her election personnel do a wonderful job, and we really appreciate them, and we thank them, and we like the new super precinct up at the North Center. It's fantastic. So everybody get out and vote, please. Under B, proclamations and recognitions, we have none. And under C, public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments on any of the agenda items that we have tonight? You also have an opportunity at the end of the meeting to have 5 minutes, but this would be on any particular agenda item that we're going to be talking about tonight. We just need your name at this point in time so we know you'd like to speak on a agenda item.
Carol Suika.
Okay, Carol, which agenda item?
I'm the property owner for the 309 Armory Place.
Oh, okay.
that
So,
you guys are interested in purchasing?
that the ISD is looking at purchasing.
Right, the ISD,
Okay,
correct.
yep. Okay, so that's item E2. So it was Carol.
Sweeka, Swieca.
Okay, thank you, Carol. We will let you know when we get to that point.
Okay.
Anybody else like to speak to any of the agenda items this evening? Okay, moving on to item D, the consent agenda. Deputy City Manager Robin Troyer.
Thank you. Under the consent agenda, item 1, approval of the city commission meeting minutes of October 19th, 2020. Item 2, acceptance of the police fire pension board meeting minutes of August 19th, 2020. Item 3, acceptance of the police and fire pension board meeting minutes of September 16th, 2020. Item 4, acceptance of the Sault Ste. Marie Housing Commission meeting minutes of August 20th, 2020. And item 5 is approval of the consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. Would any commissioner like an item further explained or removed from the consent agenda for further consideration? Seeing none, Commissioner Twardy?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions or comments before we have a roll call vote? Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspis Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Items E, special orders of business. Number 1, City Manager Brian Chapman. I think that's you there.
I was muted. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It wasn't here last meeting, so I forgot how to work this thing. All right, so first up for commission consideration is the public hearing and consideration of single lot assessment rolls. This is the process that we do twice a year. Any unpaid bills owed to the cities that we can tie it to a parcel number. We do so after a certain amount of time of it being unpaid. Staff does give proper notices to the property owners regarding the unpaid bills. So tonight what we'll do is have the mayor open the public hearing, take comments in from anyone, close the public hearing, and turn it over to the commission for consideration, where staff would recommend approving the single lot special assessment roll.
Thank you very much, City Manager. So we will open the public hearing on the single lot special assessment roll SL-2N-20 and SL-2W-20. So this is a public hearing in regard to the single lot special assessments. Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions in regard to the special assessments?
Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is Steve Twardy. I would like to talk about it.
Hi, Steve.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So just to confirm, we're talking about the EUPISD in on Armory Place.
Nope, not yet. We're next item.
Well, then I'm glad I asked to confirm. Thank you.
All right. This is the public hearing for the single lot assessment rolls, SL-2N-20 and SL-2W-20. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions or comments about the special assessment rolls? Going once, going twice. We will close the public hearing on the single lot special assessment rolls. I don't know, any questions or comments from the commission before we go, or from Robin Troyer?
Sorry, I wanted to just note that I added a update to the single lot late this afternoon after the finance department closed out payments. So there is a new item added to the agenda packet. It's the single lot final of November 2nd. So the commission will see that in their packet.
All right, thank you. All right, any questions from the commission on the single lot special assessment rolls? Commissioner Baker, would you like to make the motion?
Yeah, thank you. I'll make a motion to confirm the single lot special assessment roll SL2N-20 and SL-2W-20.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Miller.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. So does that cover what Robin said she did today then? That everything,
Yes.
all encompassing?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Bosphus-Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. E, special orders of business, number 2, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to rezone 309 Armory Place from RM1 multifamily residential to OS office service. Staff and the planning commission are recommending denial of the request. To speak a little bit more on it before I go a little bit too much into it, we have Angie MacArthur with us from the ISD. I told her she could have a couple of minutes before I get too much into this to kind of present their requests and their reasoning. Angie?
Thank you, Brian. For those that I haven't met yet, I'm Angie MacArthur. I'm Superintendent of the Eastern Upper Peninsula Intermediate School District. We entered into a property agreement with Carol Suika, the owner of 309 Armory Place, in July of 2020. Initially, we considered utilizing the existing house
I could see he got my
as office space,
filed.
but that would still require rezoning. And then at that point, we were told that the house was in pretty bad disrepair and should be torn down. So we started looking for alternatives. Our intent is to add an addition to the west of our existing building. We need to right size this office space for the employees that we have. We would add about 10 offices and a small conference room, and we need probably 5 feet of the next parcel to do so. We are not planning on building a parking lot or adding parking spaces, as the current zoning requirements for parking spaces per square footage is sufficient. Any unused space between the addition and the next residence would remain green space. I feel like the ISD has been a good neighbor over the years, and we want to stay in this neighborhood if we are able to. Maintaining these offices is the desired effect, as the location is convenient to services as well as programs that we support. From an economic standpoint, we contribute a great deal of funds to the downtown restaurants. Over the last 5 years, we've contributed over $177,000, in catering. I really think we can do this addition in a manner that enhances the neighborhood rather than detracting it from it. We have a very small industrial footprint because we're limited in hours. We don't have huge trucks coming in very frequently. We don't have late night activities, with the exception of some paranormal activity, I'm told. We want to keep this building in a manner that's going to look beautiful as it does currently, but we need some more space. So that's what we are hoping that the commissioners will approve. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. MacArthur. So just to kind of re-summarize where we came from. So this item was brought to the commission at the beginning of October. By commission action, you all selected to do another public hearing. So tonight what will happen is the mayor will open the public hearing. We will receive comments from the public, and then we will close the public hearing, at which commission will have an opportunity to discuss and then take it under final consideration. We have a series of documents included as attachments within here. We do have one late submittal that was an update. There's a letter in the packet from Nancy Steinhaus. The letter that's in your packet was addressed to the Plan Commission. She forwarded a letter late today. It's basically the same letter. It's just addressed to the City Commission instead of the Plan Commission. So we put all the public comments that we received in there. There is a public feedback summary included as an attachment that lists the 2 people in favor and the 4 responses opposed to the rezoning. We included that in your packet as well. So if you have any questions, Community Development Director Freeman or I are available to answer them. At this time, we'll turn it back over to Mr. Mayor to open and facilitate the public hearing.
Thank you, City Manager. And at this time, I will find the right spot in the agenda here, and we will open a public hearing of an ordinance to rezone 309 Armory Place from multifamily residential to office service. And I apologize, I didn't really need to get your names ahead of time on this one because we do have a public hearing scheduled. So right now we will open the public hearing of an ordinance to rezone 309 Armory Place from multifamily residential to office service. And I know that we did have a couple people that wanted to speak, and Carol Swika, was it Swika?
Swika.
Okay, thank you. Carol, if you'd like to go.
Okay, sure, Your Honor. Hi, I am the property owner of the 309 Armory, and like I was telling you, it is in a very poor state of disrepair. It was a wonderful house when we bought it, when my son went to college there in 2004 to 2008. However, that has taken a turn. I am having a little bit of a difficult time because my brother does live in the house, and he's passionate about the house. However, I am for the rezoning because the house is not livable at this point. I mean, to what standards of living are. I also, the heating cost me quite a bit, and I do live out of state. I am trying to retire, and I have talked to my brother about this several times, and I'm in agreement with rezoning it off office and changing it from residential.
Thank you very much, Carol.
Okay.
Do you have any other comments or?
Well, I just want you guys to, you know, I mean, it would be nice to see the school district grow. It would be nice to, I'm the director of the emergency room down here, and I appreciate your comments about COVID too. I wanted to tell you, we have a different scenario here, of course, because we are dealing with deaths at a very, very high rate, and which makes my job very stressful. But I do see that I think the rezoning with the open green space that she talked about would be a great way to see that property that I have owned for all of these years rezoned.
Thank you for your comments, Carol, and thanks for your service to the healthcare community.
Okay, thanks, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, and then Steve Twardy, I see you lit up there.
Yeah, I'm still here. Thank you.
Okay.
So I'll be brief. I'm not in support of the rezoning, and there's a couple of reasons why, but I think my main objection is the congestion on Armory Place, which is already fairly significant. Even though the ISD does have 2 parking lots, both on the east side of the main building, my experience on the street is that those parking lots don't get used to their fullest extent. And it's very, very common for cars to be parked all the way down Ashman or Armory to the west as far as they can go. As a matter of fact, on several occasions I have had to call the police because cars have parked in my driveway, not in it, but in front of it. And so I think if they're going to put offices in this addition, it seems to me that the people that are going to be working in those offices are going to want to use the door that is closest to their office, which is the door that's on the west side of the ISD, excuse me, on Armory. So, you know, between the ISD and St. Mary's and all the people that park from the county at the west end of Armory, it's really congested already, and I'm just concerned that this will just add to the problem. And my second objection is, you know, I'm just not in favor of taking any homes off of the tax roll, given, you know, I even hear a lot of complaints about water rates going up, and I don't think that we should do anything to support that. So those are my two objections. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments, Steve. Okay, we are in a public hearing on the matter in front of us, which is rezoning of 309 Armory Place from multifamily residential to office service. Are there any other comments for the public hearing? This is an opportunity for you to address the commission and.
Yes, I'd like to speak.
Okay. Could we get your name, please?
Scott Smith. I live across the street from 309 and the ISD.
Okay.
Like she said, she's been a good neighbor. The ISD has for our neighborhood. In regards to Mr. Twardy's comment, at least 3 of those vehicles that park along Armory Place in front of our houses belong to county employees. So, the house does appear to look in disrepair. I'm not sure exactly what the condition of it is, but I would think it would be a lot better served if the ISD could build an office there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Appreciate your comments. Anybody else in the audience have any comments on public hearing of 309 Armory Place? Again, it's public hearing for 309 Armory Place. Any other comments? Okay, we will close the public hearing at this time and go back to the commission. So we'll start with Commissioner Bosbus-Rath. Do you have any comments or questions on this item?
Just one question. Will there be added employees to the ISD, or how many permanent employees have offices in the ISD? Because I know a lot of them travel.
Good question. Thank you.
Ms. MacArthur, could you answer that?
Were you asking? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's hard to see all these squares.
Right now on the downstairs floor, I have 30. And on the second floor, or the ground floor, I have about 15, and then there's 6 on the upper part of the mezzanine. So quite a few. I don't have a total on that, sorry.
That's okay. I threw that at you, so thank you.
All right, I guess, are you adding staff or are you just accommodating staff within?
we're trying to accommodate those that are here currently.
Okay.
We have 130 employees and plus 35 contracted positions. And of those, many are all over the Eastern UP within school districts or at the Learning Center in Rudyard. So the ones that are here are primarily program directors, the business department. We're not anticipating adding, 10 new positions. We want to be able to move people out of, in the business office, for example, we have people, there's 11 people in a spot that was designed for about 5. I have several offices that have 2 people in them.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Okay.
Commissioner Collins, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I guess first, just a couple of comments. I mean, basically looking at what I can see right now from the public comment summary, it's you've got 4 people that live on the street that are opposed to it and 2 that are in favor of it. So obviously the majority goes to the people that are opposed to it. Personal level, I'm also not in favor of taking properties off of the tax rolls. Specifically, we know that, revenues are going down and expenses are going up, and by taking things off the tax rolls, that just contributes to the problem. But I do have a question as far as on the other side of them, there's the tennis courts that are sitting there that nobody uses and basically is almost vacant property. Has there been any discussion or anything as far as possibly using that property to build an office building for your staffing problems?
The Superintendent Everson, when he was here, that had been discussed. The property is owned by the Catholic Diocese of Marquette, I believe. And at the time, they were not interested in selling. We're entertaining seeing if that's an option now. It would require moving their tennis court across the street to give them a unified playground.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody on that tennis court ever. So that was my question. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Miller, any questions or comments for him?
Just a couple, Your Honor. Thank you. Ms. Suika, am I saying your name correct?
Yes, Carol Suika, yes.
Yeah, Commissioner Miller, I just have hopefully this is not a personal question for you, but this has to do with family. I know your brother was here with us 2 weeks ago, and you are correct. He was very adamant about staying in the house.
Right.
I only live a couple of blocks from what we're talking about, but to be honest with you, I have not looked at that house yet. You say it's in quite disrepair, not livable?
Oh,
Like,
no,
should it be?
it is not. It is not.
But your brother lives
honestly, there? Right, very honestly, as the property owner, I would have to put about $50,000 or $60,000 into it to make it livable. And I only bought the property for $65,000 initially. I have been anxious to sell this property. I understand it's a difficult move. Trust me, I understand. I am willing, and I have talked to my brother for several months about that, to help facilitate his move, even financially. Plus, the heating costs of that building run me $300 a month. I pay $36. I can show you my tax. The best thing that could happen to me would be for the SD to buy this property. That would be the best thing. Even if I don't make a dime on this property, which I won't, that would be the best financial move for me to make.
I'm sorry.
And it's an old house. I'm telling you, it is not livable to what we would consider living standards. But the hard part is that we grew up in a log cabin. But it is not anywhere near being what I would consider livable conditions. The plumbing does not work. There's all kinds of problems with the water. The heat, we had to put $6,000 into the heat last year. It's just, unbelievably beyond repair. I mean, go take a walk through it. I invite you.
I know where it is. I'm sorry, I can't visualize it right now what it looks like, but I am familiar with that street.
And I understand that it's parking is a problem. It always has been a problem since, you know, since I can remember. But it has to be a lot easier for the SD building to add on to that side than to go into their parking lot and create another parking lot.
Have there been discussions between you and your brother about him purchasing it from you? And
he has talked about it, but he's been unable to secure a loan.
Commissioner Miller, I'm just gonna step in really quick. When it comes to rezone requests and the discussion that kind of comes around this discussion, I'm gonna caution you not to get too into the weeds per se with some of these details about the house. Don't focus too much on the structure, the condition of the structure. I'm gonna ask you guys to really focus in on the rezone request from RM to OS.
May I offer?
Brian, I'm just trying to get the whole picture of everything.
Yeah, no, I know.
I've been going back and forth on it for the last couple of weeks, and that has not been a thought in my mind of exactly what the structure looks like or how bad it is. I have not been focusing on that. I'm trying to encompass everything that everyone's talking about, what's needed there. Like Commissioner Collins said, I'd hate to see a residential taken off the tax rolls there. So I've just been trying to get the whole picture. But I appreciate you cautioning me on that. And with that, I'm going to end my comments. Thank you, Mr. Chapman.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner, yes, Mrs. MacArthur, I think, has a comment.
Just to clarify, regardless if the rezoning is approved, our purchase agreement can still go forward and the ISD can still own the property. So the tax roll is kind of it's a done deal already.
Oh, that's good to know.
Thank you.
We'd like to be able to utilize it in the way that we'd like to see it.
All right, thank you.
So, man, the question, Your Honor, then? One more?
Sure.
So if this is denied tonight, then the ISD still has intentions on purchasing this property?
Yeah. Yes, it's in our purchase. It's in our agreement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to Commissioner Talentino.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a tough one. I do agree with the residents on the area that we don't want to see these older homes in our town taken down. As everybody knows, I am a Blight guy. Brian can contest for that, and so can Robert. As for me, I guess I'm looking at it this way. This purchase is probably going to go down anyway, no matter what. So if I was a resident, would I want a house that's probably going to get purchased, tore down, and become a parking lot? Or would I want to see a new building being built with some green space? So I guess I would just as soon personally see it that way. On Commissioner Collins' comment, I do think Mrs. MacArthur should reach out to the Catholic Diocese on that, possibly for some parking situation. But for me, this is actually a pretty easy one. We're looking at a ton of employees. We're looking at a ton of revenue generated for our downtown eateries alone. I think Mrs. MacArthur said $170-some thousand is generated just in our downtown businesses. We've got these employees walking downtown, being downtown. And, we need to remember we're all about keeping our businesses, helping them to facilitate what we can do to keep their business downtown. So once again, to recap, this purchase could still go down and that house could get tore down. So it's not an issue of saving the house, because if this purchase goes down, I'm about pretty sure the ISD is not going to want to put any money into an old house. They're going to tear it down. Bottom line, it's going to be a parking lot. So what do we want? Do we want a parking lot, or do we want a new building with some green space? I know which way I'm leaning on this. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for your comments, Commissioner. Commissioner Twardy.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's really tough to be a TW, man. I never get to talk first.
That's why I try to go backwards some nights.
You need to go backwards sometimes. I'm sitting here like,
I do.
Okay, so this is not a blight issue. We're not talking about a blight issue. We're talking about a rezoning issue. That's simply all we're discussing right here. Well, first of all, before anything else is said, Tom's been my neighbor for 10 years, and I am never going to vote in favor of having my neighbor removed from his home, especially when they have a severely handicapped child. But that is not the issue here. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about rezoning a residential property into a non-taxable paying entity. So right now we have this property on the tax rolls. This property should stay on the tax rolls, and not only has city administration also suggested and requesting that we deny this, but so is the planning commission. So we have two major departments within our city administration who is telling us to not take this off the tax rolls, not allow this rezone to happen, because once this comes off the tax roll, it will be off the tax roll for its entirety. If the ISD does purchase the property, even though we deny it, they cannot put a parking lot in because it can't be rezoned into a parking lot. It's still a residential lot, and it has to be maintained as a residential lot. Sure, they can tear the house down and they can use the portion of it that they were looking into, but that lot will always be a residential lot. And I think that we are failing and we're not serving our community by looking at this as a residential street. We're approaching the 50% mark if we do approve this, and this is no longer than a residential street. It's become a governmental street, and this is a residential street. This needs to be maintained as a residential property, and it needs to stay on the tax roll. That's all we're talking about right now. I think I've said enough. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. And Commissioner Baker. She's the dead last person.
Yeah. Wow, that was a lot. Definitely a lot. My question, I guess, would be to Mr. Freeman, and for the zoning purposes, and what he sees the main issues with the potential rezoning of it, and if it's going off the tax roll. That would be my second question, is if purchased, regardless of whether it gets rezoned or not, would it come off the tax roll just from the pure purchase of it? Those are my two questions.
City manager, want to answer, or have Kelly Freeman answer?
While Kelly is coming to the podium, per se, the digital podium. So staff's recommendation really is around the rezone request, from switching it from RM1 to office service. It has nothing to do with the tax loss, future use, current use, blighted house, anything like that. When there's a rezone request, staff and I have to look at this from purely the rezone. So what is the impact? What could the impact be to the neighborhood by opening up those permitted uses from a residential area to office services? So we cannot, and we do not, look at the individual development opportunity with the rezone request. So whether it comes off, whether it stays, whether the ISD buys it, whether the house is blighted, not livable, none of those things come into the discussion or really the analysis that staff does for rezone requests. So just to make that point clear, now that Kelly's at the digital podium, I'll turn it back over to him.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. There are really three major points that I identified in my review of this request that led me to the denial recommendation that I came to. First of all, going from RM1 to office service is an increase in the intensity of uses that could take place on the property. The master plan actually provides for or envisions a decrease in intensity beyond the existing zoning designation. So looking at the master plan, the existing RM1 zoning that the property has is more intense than that is envisioned by the master plan. So going to office service represents a move even further from the vision identified by the master plan. So that's issue number one. Issue number two is the unknowns with the traffic that Mr. Twardy brought up. There could come a time 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now, where the ISD outgrows this building and their ability to add on to it. And there could be doctor's offices, some other use that's allowed in office service that occupies this building. So not only, do we need to focus on the ISD use, but the totality of what could happen here based on what's allowed in the office service district. And third and last, on this particular block between the school property, the school being St. Mary's, and the ISD, it's about 45% land area that's non-residential uses, and flipping 309 Armory over to office service brings that to about 48%. So not quite 50, but once you make residential uses the minority use on a block, it's kind of a slippery slope and a precipice that you start down that's kind of hard to, to unwind. You can't unring a bell. So those were kind of the three areas of my main concern. As the city manager alluded to, the tax issue is completely moot. That depends on ownership solely. The rezoning has nothing to do with that. If the city commission were to decline the request tonight, the ISD could still buy the property, take the house down, and it would come off the tax rolls.
Thank you. And then also with kind of with what we're doing with downtown and Main Street, direction, that area doesn't affect that, correct? As far
Abby,
as
you broke up just a little bit. You're gonna have to repeat your question.
As far as what we were doing with downtown and Main Street and kind of rezoning and kind of doing the districts, does that fall into that area at all, or is that too far down?
Kelly, is this part of the downtown rezoning project?
No, this area would lie outside of the boundaries of that.
Okay, and then my last question, I forget her name, the lady from the ISD. Now, this was just to accommodate the employees that you already have staff there. You're not looking to hire more, correct? Or just down the road, were you planning on hiring more?
We're trying to right size the space that we have for the employees that we have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. I agree with Commissioner Talentino. I think this is a very difficult request, and I think that I know that we are not supposed to give any consideration of any of the future uses or any of the anything going on, but that's an extremely difficult thing to do when we see the good neighbor that the ISD is, and we can participate in a public hearing and hear input from all the different parties. I think, especially given the seller's situation. I think the use, if you are looking at it strictly based on the master plan, I agree. They would certainly recommend a denial of the zoning request. I think given all the information that we have in front of us and see, I do think it would actually enhance the neighborhood rather than detract. I think that adding the 5 feet of usable space onto the new land and then making green space would certainly help with our blight issue, which is, yes, city manager, something we're not supposed to be considering. But I think I would tend to side with Commissioner Talentino, and I very rarely go against the will of the staff or the committees, but in this case, I think that the ISD is a good neighbor and has a good facility and has limited hours and certainly would be a good neighbor. So that's the extent of my comments. It looked like Commissioner Collins has his.
So I really want to say, first of all, that I appreciated Commissioner Twardy's comments. and I agree with her. I also understand where Commissioner Talentino and Mayor Gary are coming from. The thing that I would point out is, and caution, is that time and time again, we have talked about policies and procedures and making sure that we're following the policies and procedures. And going along with that, if we're gonna go against the master plan, then let's change the master plan before we go ahead and one-off something like this. So my point is this, is that if ISD wants to buy it and it's gonna be their property, we can still look at the master plan, possibly change the master plan, and then that could accommodate them. But I don't want to put the cart before the horse. I mean, we talk about this all the time about policy and procedures, about the fact that we have these in place for a reason. And if we have a master plan in place for a reason, and we're going to turn around and just go against it, then what the hell do we have a master plan for? And the comments.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Miller, you had your hand up first, or no?
I'm okay, Your Honor. Thanks.
Okay, Commissioner Bosbus-Rath.
Yeah, I've thought about this for a long time since our last meeting and before that when we got the agenda. My big thing, I guess, is going against the Planning Commission and staff. I have a problem with that. And then going against the neighbors. We're 4-2, not in favor being 4. I understand the house maybe needs some repair. And like everyone has stated, the house could actually sell and it could be torn down without even us agreeing or disagreeing. So to me, that's kind of where I'm at. I agree with Commissioner Collins on our policies and procedures, and we have those in place for a reason. So it's a tough one.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller.
I'm ready to make a motion if you'll allow me, Your Honor.
Certainly. Carol, typically we just reserve this to commission comments. Sorry to cut you off there. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move that the requested rezoning of parcel number 051-360-018-50 from RM1 to OS be denied.
Thank you. It's been moved. It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bosbus-Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
No.
Commissioner
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
No.
Commissioner Baker.
No.
Motion did pass on a 4-3 vote. Thank you very much, everybody, for your comments. All right. In communication, item F, communications, we have nothing. Moving on into G, business items. Number 1, City Manager Chapman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up first for commission consideration is a request from staff to enter into a grant agreement with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for the funding of necessary repairs to the electrical fuel system in Shoreline Boardwalk down at the Kemp Marina. This was an issue that we made commission aware of a while ago. In working with the state, they were able to come up with some funding to assist us in getting the marina up to a point where it'll ensure its longevity. Included in the item are a series of photos coming from staff about the issues with the high water that we've been experiencing in the last couple of years and into the next couple of years moving forward. The water has washed out the ground underneath the boardwalk. There's big sinkholes underneath of it. And most concerning would be the fuel lines, the shutoff valves, and some of the major electrical components being underwater. So with all of these repairs, we would be able to bring the electrical and fuel lines out of the water, redo the wall, and ensure its integrity moving forward. The total project itself is about $816,000. The DNR grant is about 50%. Outlined within the fiscal impact are several funding sources that we would withdraw to pay our share of the grant. Staff would look for two motions for this one: motion to authorize and execute the grant agreement, and then motion to provide a local match based on the funding sources presented in the fiscal impact.
Thank you, City Manager. We'll go through the roll call to see if we have any questions or comments. Commissioner Collins, do you have any questions or comments on this item?
No question, just a comment. I just wanted to elaborate on the fiscal impact. If you actually look at the fiscal impact, the majority of the funds are going to come from the Carbide Dock Reserve and also funds that are currently budgeted from the Kemp Marina repairs. And then some of it comes from the Canes Rink repairs. Obviously, Canes Rink is one of the things that we'll have to talk about in the future. It's land sale reserves, but the biggest point is that very little of it, only 50,000, is going to be coming from the general fund. So from a standpoint of what's the real impact to the city, you know, the $50,000 is the biggest impact that I see from the fiscal impact side. And then in exchange for that, you're getting $383 or $363,000 in grants from the DNR. So to me, this is a no-brainer.
Thanks, good points, especially when you look at the pictures and see the fuel line underwater and also the electrical lines underwater and a big cavity under the walkway. So certainly are necessary repairs. Commissioner Miller, any questions or comments?
No, I think Commissioner Collins said it all.
Thank you. Commissioner Talentino?
Just one comment. This is in need for some severe repair, you know, so I'm good with this by all means. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baker, any questions or comments?
Commissioner Twardy, you mean?
I mean, it's Twardy, I'm sorry. Oh, I checked you off already. It was all that griping about going last.
Apparently, now I just get pushed over. No, I just wanted to say thank you to Commissioner Collins for his comments, because that could have been the rants and raves #1 topic tomorrow if we hadn't clarified that only $50,000 is coming out of the general fund. Most of this is coming out of other funds, which is already sourced, and we can certainly talk about the hockey rink down the road, but it is in need of a lot of work, and Kemp Marina is usually full all summer long, so I'm excited for us to be able to get going on this. Are we looking for this project to be done in 2021, City Manager?
Would be done next summer, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Twardy. Commissioner Baker, questions or comments?
No, sir, all good. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Birthday Hospice Wrath.
No, I'm good. I did see the pictures and it's pretty scary when you see the electrical underwater. So yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yep. Thank you. I agree. It's necessary repairs. It's unfortunate, but the cost of high water and some of the backwash that's happened. So Commissioner Collins, did you want to make the motion?
Sure, thank you. Motion to authorize the city manager to execute the grant agreement from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources in the amount of $363,353.50 for electrical, fuel line, boardwalk, and shoreline improvements to the George Kemp Downtown Marina, as presented with a total project cost of, well, you got $726,707.
Thank you. It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Bless you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Hospice Wrath.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. The next motion, Commissioner Collins.
Motion to provide a local match of $408,400 for the 2 Michigan DNR grants from the various sources as detailed below, and establish the budget for the full project.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments before we have a roll call vote? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Basvis Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Under G, business items, number 2, City Manager Chapman.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to enter into the next renewal year for Blue Cross Blue Shield for the city's healthcare plan. In short, staff is recommending option 3 to be executed by myself. There's 3 options that we can, I'm just trying to think how I want to set this up, I'm sorry. So long story short, the city every year has to renew its health insurance plan, right? Just like any other business has to do. That time period is now. In working with the Special Health Determining Committee, which is made up of various staff representation and our health insurance consultants, we looked at the claims data from last year going all the way back to 10 years. They came back with an analysis on where they think we would end up spending next year, and they made several recommendations to us, and we narrowed it down to these 3 options. So historically, the city has been a self-insured entity. So the city acts as the HMO. Everything that we spend or all the health insurance bills passes through the city, we pay it. The other option is fully insured, and that's your traditional Blue Cross Blue Shield health management organization. So right now we contract with Blue Cross Blue Shield to get the network benefits, but we still as an entity act as the health insurance provider. So there's a couple benefits to that. There's some negatives to that. The 2 biggest ones is when we have a good year, when the analysis comes in, and let's say we're anticipating the city spending $1 million total in health insurance. If it comes less than that, that savings reflects on us. If we were part of an HMO like Blue Cross Blue Shield, if they said we were going to spend $1 million, that's what they're keeping us locked in at. So even if we come in at 800,000 or less, we still pay $1 million. Now the flip side of that is being fully insured. If we go over that $1 million threshold, we're on the hook for that. Whereas if we were an with an HMO, anything over the $1 million, they would cover. Historically, looking over the last 10, 12 years, there's probably only been a couple of years where we have gone over the estimated dollar amount coming out from our consultants. So we've had very good years in the sense that we thought we would spend this much and we came in here and the city reaped those benefits. So kind of setting that as the table for the discussion going forward. Looking at the analysis going forward to minimize the cost to the city and not to have a drastic increase in the premium contributions towards the employees, we have several options. The first one is to renew the plan as is. If we were to stick with everything the same, renew the contracts from last year, the city's costs are going to be about the same, but the health contributions coming in from the employees on their bi-weekly payroll contributions is going to double. So if there's a plan in a family or a single person that has $60 a month or $60 a paycheck, it's going to jump up to 120. If it's 120 for a family, it's going to be 240. So we're looking at a double premium contribution for the employee if we renew the plan as is. So the 2 options where the knobs kind of change a little bit would be to switch to a fully health insured plan where we would become part of an HMO. If we were to do that, our costs stay the same and the employees' costs kind of go up just a slight amount, nothing serious, just a little bit. And then there's option 3 where we remain self-insured. We keep a lot of things the same, but with this one, we would up the stop loss coverage from $40,000 to $75,000. What this one would do would keep the premiums for the employees low where they're at right now, the city's thresholds would actually be coming down a little bit, but there is a risk that anything over that $40,000, which we typically have stop loss right now won't kick into $75,000. So I'm going to assume nobody knows what stop loss is either. So I apologize if I offend anybody. So when you are self-insured, you have all these different components that make up your health insurance plan. One of them being the stop loss coverage. So basically what stop loss coverage is, it's an extra insurance plan that you say you and your family under this one contract, you can't cost the city more than $40,000. Anything above that $40,000, a different entity picks it up. So we are able to adjust the stop loss coverage for the city up to a higher amount. Thresholds would actually come down just a little bit in terms of the city expenditures, and then the employees' benefits would stay about the same the way they are. So we're recommending this option, option 3, as a near double health insurance premium jump is a bit much. We looked at a lot of different options. The city does have a decent fund balance to cover if any particular employee or their family member does go above that 75 or that $40,000. In looking at the claims data as well, historically, there hasn't been a lot of employees or their family members going over that $40,000. So it's a little bit of a risk. It's nothing in the historical data that shows that we have done in the past, but it is an option. So, so there's a lot of data behind this one. We tried to summarize it as best as we could. Again, staff would recommend option 3 moving forward.
Thank you, City Manager. It looks like Commissioner Collins has a question for you.
Yeah, please, if you don't mind. Thank you. The stop loss, I'm pretty sure I understand this. The stop loss is for individual claims then. So an individual or family member has a claim, it goes over 40,000. Current plan, anything over 40,000 is covered. The new plan would be anything over 75,000 per claim or incident or whatever would basically be covered, correct?
I don't remember. I don't think it's per incident. I think it's total, right, Robin? Stop loss is total to person, not just like a car accident if that went over 75, but it's that entire year's worth of medical expenses.
For that individual person, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you could have multiple claims on different things, but for one person, if it went over that threshold, then it would be covered.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
So, City Manager, this is a recommendation that's coming forward from the Healthcare Determining Committee or whatever that was called?
So the process that we went through with the Special Health Determining Committee, I don't want to say it was rushed, but there wasn't a lot of time, and some of the data that we had wasn't necessarily finalized. So we looked at it in one way. There wasn't a lot of discussion on it. We came back for a second meeting really quick. There still wasn't a lot of discussion on it. A few of the members did think going with the fully insured plan would be better, but after we had that discussion, after we had that second meeting, more information, more accurate information came out from the health insurance consultants, and some of those members did kind of flip their vote. So they had an opportunity to weigh in. It was really split. It was a tough topic. Nobody really wanted to put the city in a tough spot. Nobody really wanted to put the employees in a tough spot. So we do feel option 3 is a good middle ground. But they did have an opportunity to weigh in. And like I said, it was kind of a split. We didn't have a lot of the participation from the group. The group is probably close to a dozen employees or so. And we probably had just barely half or so. So, I mean, we didn't have full participation, nor did we have the full accurate information till near the end there, which was I think maybe the end of the week before I went on vacation or late last week is when we got the full picture, somewhere around there.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Miller, any questions or comments on this?
No, I'm good, Your Honor. Thank you.
Commissioner Talentino?
Oh, I'm set on this, Your Honor. Thank you.
Commissioner Twardy?
I do have a question and then just a comment. I think it's important to keep the employees' cost as low as we can. Health insurance just continues to skyrocket, and for their premiums to double, that would be insane. But the question is have we ever attempted to, well, it says so we're remaining as the self-insured, and it's worked out for us in the past. There's been no issues and there's no concerns with moving forward with that same system. Question.
I wouldn't say there's not any concerns. Being self-insured, there's always concerns, but there's some wins and there's some losses that can happen to it. Health insurance is always a tough topic. There's always concerns, especially on the expenditure side moving forward. But I like being self-insured more than having somebody else dictate costs and they reap the benefits of it. So it's a combination of, I think this is the best scenario for the employees. I think this is a good scenario for the city. And my personal experience, or my professional experience and preference is to remain self-insured. I just think there's benefits to doing that, but there is a little bit of a risk. But the short of the long answer I just gave is, there are concerns, but there's always going to be concerns.
Okay. I would be in favor of this as long as it's protecting the employees moving forward too. So thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Baker, any questions or comments?
No, sir, thanks.
Commissioner Bosworth?
I'm all set. Thank you.
And Commissioner Collins, you made first comments, so.
Make a comment again, or do I have to wait for?
No, you can comment.
I got more. I got more.
All right.
But I can wait though till the end.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks.
Well, the first thing is just so that I guess the public knows, if we renew the plan the way it is right now, then the premiums for the employees is going to double. So the next option is do we go to fully insured? And if you go to fully insured, the employees' premiums would go up a little bit, and the city's threshold would probably be the same. But if we stay with the self-insured, which is what we're doing, but we change the threshold from the 40 to 75,000, the premiums for the employees actually go down, and our premiums actually go down a little bit as well. No, I think our premiums go up. Our premiums go up a little bit. But the biggest risk with being self-insured is the fact that it's, in a given year, it could cost you more money. But over time, because of the fact that over time, you're typically going to do better because you recoup the savings. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like being invested in the market, right? The market goes up, the market goes down, right? So the risk is we don't know what claims are going to be. But the good thing is that typically, if you do have a lot of claims in 1 year, you're not going to have a whole lot going on past 3 to 5 years. So a 3 to 5 year period of time, you're actually going to be better off than going fully insured.
And just real quick, Commissioner Collins, with option 3, the thresholds on the city side of it will actually go down. You said they would go up just a little bit. Option 3, the thresholds, the employer contributions will actually go down a little bit.
Right, but basically the threshold going up, right? Going from 40 to 75,000.
Oh, no. So when we talk about thresholds, so the city pays, if there's the premium bill, the total premium, 80%, 20%, right? The amount that the city contributes towards that monthly premium would actually go down a little bit.
Gotcha. So the stop loss is the 40 to 75,000, which is a different entity.
Correct. Yes. And the thresholds, I guess I should have picked a better word for thresholds. That's typically what we, as an organization, have referred to them. that would be more of the employer contribution towards the monthly premiums.
Gotcha. So clearly option 3 is the best option, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Was that a question? I'm not sure if that was a question or not.
Sure. All right, so Commissioner Miller, would you like to make a well, you made the last motion, so why don't we go to Commissioner Talentino?
Thank you, Your Honor. I make motion to authorize the city manager to execute the BCBS plan agreement for 2021, reflecting option number 3.
Support.
Has been moved and supported. Any other questions or comments? Thank you for all your work on this, city manager, and everybody that was part of the committee that participated, because it is certainly it's a great benefit, but it's also a lot of risk, and this looks like a very good option for the city. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Talentino,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Bosphus Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item H, city manager announcements and updates. It looks like something has magically populated in our meeting version.
Yes, it has, because I got this, I got it late today, so it
Okay.
did come in today.
Thank you.
I got a couple of extra add-ons there for you too. So last Friday, we had the official kickoff on the Carbide portion of the Carbide Easter Day project. It was online. Some of the city staff and some of the staff from Smith Group and I met in the second floor conference room. We had a webinar, so to say, to kind of kick off the program. And what we have included in the packet today is their presentation. Kind of gives you the background of Smith Group and what their expertise is with marina walls, a little bit of history of the Carbide dock, some background on the funding sources, and then a little bit more information about the project scale, the project scope, and hopefully what it'll look like when we're done, and some of the challenges and what we got to do. So it was a good presentation. We had about 25 people kind of calling into the online meeting there. Again, the schedule is in there as well if you want to take a look at it. If you have any questions, we can answer that at a later time. A couple things that kind of came up throughout the day. The sled hill that we typically operate every winter. The sled hill is dependent on the jail crew doing a good amount of maintenance work throughout the day. We were just informed late last week that the jail crew will no longer be available to us due to COVID. So we're going to be struggling a little bit with staffing issues on the sled hill. So instead of being open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and only having Monday closed, we're actually going to stay closed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're going to start the season with Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. The loss of the jail crew, just like the summertime, that has been a real big issue for us this whole year. We were hoping we'd be able to ride out the winter with the jail crew, but they're going to pull them back, keep them indoors. So we're going to have to pivot a little bit on the sled hill. So again, we're going to go from only Mondays closed to only operating Tuesday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There was some data that an intern of the Parks Department or a management analyst of the Parks Department did, and they did a time series study on which evenings are more popular. And the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays obviously are by far the most popular evenings. We're also anticipating a little bit drop in the revenues on the weekends. There's a good population of the Canadians that used to come over, but with the border being closed and not knowing how long that would be closed, we want to kind of reduce our operations there too as well. So, so a little bit of changes to the sled hill there. With us tonight also is a new reporter in the area. His name is Dan Gray. He's with Sioux Online. He's actually on our meeting right now. He just kind of logged in here. he emailed all of us individually last week or this week that I don't believe they came through. So I'm just gonna give Dan a couple of minutes here just to introduce himself. It's always nice to have a new reporter in the area. Taylor's on our meeting too. She's doing a fantastic job, but obviously the more coverage we get, the better off we are. So I'll hand it over to Dan for a couple minutes.
Good evening, commissioners. I've already talked to one of you for a prolonged period of time, Commissioner Baker, about stories that happened in your side of the city. If you guys have anything, I know I did send out an email. I don't know if you all got it or not. We've been having some server issues, so that could be on my end. I'm going to send it back out to city manager for him to send to you all. But if you have any stories or stuff, even though we're on this side of the border making all your news international, we do try to reach out to people on that side. I did one on the Sioux Fire Service just last week and look forward to doing some more stuff with you guys.
Thanks, Dan. Other than that, Mr. Mayor, I don't have anything else.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Dan, for joining our meeting. We look forward to working with you. So on the ski hill, I guess I missed it. So we're going to be closed Monday through Wednesday. Is that what you're proposing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Mondays historically we were closed anyways. Tuesdays was a 2 for Tuesdays kind of deal, and we'll just move it to 2 for Thursdays, and then Wednesdays was usually a bust anyways.
All right, any questions for city manager from commissioners? All right, moving along to item I, which is matters presented by the public. At this time, anybody from the public can address the commission for up to 5 minutes. So Commissioner, Citizen Baker.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to address everybody from the History of Hometown Heroes first by thanking you, the mayor and the commission and the administration for all your help in working with us to continue this program in Sault Ste. Marie. We are excited to announce maintenance will start this week on all the banners that are up already. And over the weekend, I'll be putting the barcodes out, and we are inviting everybody to come down on Veterans Day in social distance style, but flood our downtown streets and really hear these amazing stories of our veterans. And there's some personalized touches in them that I think everybody will really enjoy. So I really encourage you to come out and support our vets. I also want to make a little bit of announcement. Originally, we were only going to charge 99 cents for the app, but then after doing some research and looking at some other price points, we believe $1.99 is a fair price. And with that, we're able to donate back to our community. So we're going to donate, earmark 40 cents out of that $1.99. 10 cents will go to the Chippewa County Community Foundation for a community center. 10 cents will go to the Chippewa County Family Project in Robert and Mary Quinn's name. And then 10 cents also will go to our own VFW in honor of Robert Quinn, Paul Quinn, and Chum Lesk. And then we'll have another special announcement for the other 10 cents, but it'll be for perpetuity as long as we're in business. So every download from wherever will go to those right back into our community. So super exciting. So I hope to see you all there. And after the ribbon cutting at 5 in front of Maloney's, appetizers and snacks and stuff inside. I hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Great comments. Thank you. Great program. Any other members of the public? City manager, I just wanted to make one correction to your last statement. We also, I see in the corner, we have Mark Sanangelo from Sovereign Communications, and we will be on his show tomorrow, and you're probably going to pay for that.
Actually, I noticed that as well, and I'm already planning on my rebuttal, so.
Your time will be short tomorrow. All right, so moving on to item J, matters presented by the City Commission. Any commissioner have any comments? Commissioner Miller.
Well, of course, everyone knows tomorrow's election day. They've received the most absentee ballots I think they've ever had in the history of any election. we now do the voting in person at the super precinct at the college. I was there in August. Placed my first vote there. If anyone is scared about being around a lot of people, or if you're worried about COVID, that place is so huge, it is so big, and there's so much space. Robin and her staff and everybody that works there did such a nice job. I hope people don't shy away from the polls, because I mean, it's a terrible pandemic, I understand, but hopefully voter turnout will be great tomorrow too, in-person voter turnout.
Thanks, Commissioner.
I got one more, Your Honor, if you don't
Sure.
mind.
Yep.
As an auxiliary member of the VFW, you know, we have been closed throughout the entire pandemic. Every other Friday this summer, we had takeout whitefish dinners and whatnot. This November 7th is going to be our pasty sale. Even though the building and the bar and everything is not open right now, we're still trudging on, trying to raise money and do what we can for veterans. So if you think about it, put it on your calendar, November 7th. It's going to be our pasty sale. We'll sell them out you have to come in the back door of the VFW, and you'll have to have a mask on. But if you could help us in our fundraising efforts, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners? And City Manager, I didn't know if you'd want to make any comments, or maybe City Clerk Robin Troyer about the election tomorrow. Any reminders? Commissioner Miller did a great job reminding everybody, but if you or Deputy City Manager wanted to make any comments.
Deputy Manager, it's your show tomorrow. I'll turn it over. I'll just take one piece of thunder though. They've processed 3,500 absentee ballots already, which is just
Holy cow.
way more than what we've ever processed before. Robin and her crew have just been busting their butts downstairs. Been a line out City Hall for the last 2 weeks, it feels like. So I'll turn it back over. I took all Robin's thunder.
Okay.
Oh, that's okay. So yeah, we've had a phenomenal turnout with voting. If you've been in City Hall, you see that we have tables and chairs and voting booths set up in the lobby, which is nothing I've experienced during my time. So it's been quite impressive. We have about 3,500 AV ballots. So I can't gauge what tomorrow's in-person turnout is going to be, but the polls will open at 7 a.m. They'll close at 8 p.m. And again, we're at the James Norris Center back in the Student Athletic Center at LSSU. Each individual precinct will remain as they were separated in their individual locations. Please be patient if there are lines. The election inspectors will work as quickly as possible to process everybody through, and we appreciate the partnership with LSSU. Any questions? You can call the city clerk's office.
Thank you. I think as Commissioner Miller mentioned, they have it laid out very well. There are arrows on the floor for ingress and for egress, and they have you separated very well. And the way the precincts are separated, there is a lot of space. So there's not even an opportunity for you to be within 10, 12, 15 feet from somebody else. So it's very safe, very socially distanced. So and the election workers certainly deserve a lot of respect, and so please treat them well when you go and vote tomorrow. So Commissioner Baker.
Yeah, I just wanted to give out a shout out to Robin and the ladies there in the city clerk's office. We always intended stuff came up and we weren't do that, and so we found it very easy to walk in. It took less than 3 minutes. So great job, Robin, you and your crew. Kudos. You're ready for a vacation, I'm sure, deservingly so.
Commissioner Bosworth.
Real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Sioux High football varsity. They won their first game in districts, and it's kind of fun. You can actually watch it on the Sioux High high school Facebook page. You can watch it live if you, I know they have a limited number of tickets, but go out and support your Sioux High Blue Devils. So they did a great job.
Good comments. Go Blue Devils.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Commissioner Twardy.
I just want, well, before I move to adjourn, wanted to remind everybody that Restaurant Week is coming up downtown. So I believe, and Abby, you can tell me, remind me the dates. I think that it starts this weekend, if I'm not correct, and then it does go for a full week. But all of the restaurants who are participating, they have price fix menus. They are available on most of their Facebook pages, and many of them are offering carryout. So make sure that you patronize your local restaurants. Am I right on the date, Abby, on that? Or Commissioner Baker, I'm sorry.
Just
Can't hear you.
City Manager?
Just real quick, our DDA Director, Kayla
Honestly,
Nicholson, is on.
Okay.
Honestly, I do not know. I've been,
It's the 2nd through the 8th.
November 2nd to the 8th. Thank you to Kayla Nicholson for correcting
there you
me.
go.
So
Yeah, I don't know.
I just wanted to make sure that I reminded everybody about that. So make sure to patronize your downtown restaurants. And if nobody has anything else, I would like to move to adjourn.
Support. All in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting
Thank
is
you.
adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Aye.
Great meeting.
Good, everybody.
Go vote tomorrow.
Yep.